Romelu Lukaku touched the ball 20 times in Chelsea's game at the Etihad versus Manchester City. 20 touches for Chelsea's £100 million man, the man that was meant to change everything about Chelsea. He touched the ball 20 times at the Etihad. One of them was kickoff. The other 19 were generally ugly miscontrols which sent the ball spinning back to Manchester City for them to launch another attack. The ball never stayed with Romelu Lukaku, and it is getting to the stage now where I think that we need to make a serious decision. Everything about Romelu Lukaku felt like it was set to reset at the game at the Etihad. I nearly said Main Road. I felt like it was his opportunity. It was a game where Chelsea needed to win. The Premier League needed Chelsea to win. And I felt like Pep Guardiola almost played into Chelsea's hands. He rested or dropped, whatever way you want to spin it, rested Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz is obviously Manchester City's most physically imposing defender. And I felt like that decision was massively going to favour Lukaku. Instead of that, he lost all 7 of his aerial duels. 7 of his aerial duels. And he's not even facing City's most imposing defender. I mean, it's truly appalling. And do you know what they did? A lot of these duels that he was competing for, it really did underline just how uncoordinated he can be when he's competing for a high ball. Look, he's incredibly strong. He's an amazing athlete, but he gets it wrong. He isn't an elite footballer. And I was so desperate for Chelsea to sign him. You can go back and look at a video I put up in the summer where I basically begged Chelsea's board to sign Romelu Lukaku. I thought he was the perfect player for us. I was so desperate to have somebody leading the line who I believed was so desperate to play for Chelsea. All the stuff about him being 16, wanting to follow in the footsteps of Didier Drogba, walking around the tour at Stamford Bridge, dreaming of playing there. I believed it. I was a sucker. I was a gullible idiot because none of it was true. And Chelsea have now won 4 out of our last 12 games. That means we've dropped 18 points in the last 12. That is a huge tally. Just to put it in context, when Frank Lampard got sacked, in the 12 games leading up to that, he dropped 19 points. Chelsea have dropped 18 points now. And we need to analyse why. We need to find out why. And if you look at Romelu Lukaku's 21 appearances across all competitions this season, Thomas Tuchel has tried 11 different attacking combinations, either in terms of personnel or tactics. And I think it's fair to say that none of them work. What does that mean? To me, that means that maybe the problem isn't the system. Maybe the problem isn't the supporting cast. Maybe the problem isn't the shape of the team or the tactics or the culture around the club or anything that Romelu Lukaku may say is a problem. I think the problem is Romelu Lukaku himself. And that ill-advised press conference that he did with Sky Italia, it just tells us everything that we need to know. It was so true. Don't be fooled to believe that that wasn't true. Every word that he uttered in that press conference was totally and utterly true. And Chelsea are now trying to accommodate a player who doesn't really want to be there and isn't really that good. The 3 players who made Manchester City cry in Porto, Sergio Aguero crying, thousands of Mancunians crying, the 3 players that led the line for Chelsea that night are all on the bench at the Etihad in order to accommodate a £100 million player. A £100 million player who doesn't want to be there. It's also given opposing fans such ammunition. It doesn't matter whether it's Chesterfield fans or Man City fans. They're all constantly singing about how Romelu Lukaku hates Chelsea. That can't be good. That isn't conducive to what Chelsea are trying to achieve. It's so undermining that they can legitimately say and chant and sing at our fans and at our players and at our manager that your leading man, your striker, doesn't even like you. And it's mildly funny, but they say that a lot of truth is said in jest, and it's completely true. I mean, there was a moment in the City game, and I think this kind of represents what Lukaku is all about. There was a moment when he went through on goal, and he could have shot, he could have scored, and he decided to play in Hakim Ziyech, who was so obviously offside. It was such a bad decision from Lukaku. And I was wondering if his motivation in that moment was to try and undermine people like me who are saying that he's not a team player. He's so desperate to prove that he is a team player that he's foregoing the opportunity to score a goal when he should score a goal, when he should have scored, to pass the ball to an offside player in order to show us that he is actually a team player. But it's not true. Romelu Lukaku is somebody who has not bought into the club and the ethos and the manager and his teammates during his second spell. That is the truth. Romelu Lukaku does not want to play for Chelsea. He is concerned only with individual gratification. He is a man that is a narcissist. And look, he will say, I love Chelsea, because it's easy, you just say it. You can say anything. He will say it in order to almost justify his narcissism. He'll just go, no, I love you. Yeah, I love you loads. Yeah, I love you. But the priority is himself. He's a man completely preoccupied with solo gratification. And we saw it at Manchester City. He was so desperate that even his selflessness is now costing the team, because he's not making the decision based on footballing moments. Romelu Lukaku, in a truly genuine footballing moment, doesn't pass to Hakim Ziyech, who's offside in that situation, at a must-win game against your title rival, if you believe there is a title race. But in a must-win game for Chelsea, of course he doesn't. So why does he make that pass? I think it's obvious. And I think what was very telling is that even Thomas Tuchel, who I think has handled himself exquisitely throughout this, Thomas Tuchel has been brilliant throughout this entire debacle. And I feel very sorry for him, having to juggle and accommodate the ego of Romelu Lukaku. It cannot be easy. But even he said, when he was asked about the service and stuff for Lukaku in that game, he says, sometimes you're responsible for the service yourself if you're a centre-forward. Sometimes you are responsible. And he even flagged that Lukaku lost the ball many times without any pressure and lost it in what were very promising circumstances, because a lot of what Chelsea did, despite Chelsea being second best, a lot of what we did was correct. We were getting it right. Defend well, defend resolutely, hit them on the break. And any time the ball went anywhere near Lukaku, he basically gave it back to Man City. An appalling performance. And I think it is, the writing for me is now on the wall. We know the player that Lukaku can be, but we also know that he can be so inconsistent. We know that he struggles against the big teams. Manchester United fans will always tell you that he can't score against big teams. I think he only scored against Chelsea during his time at Manchester United. It's something that's been levelled at him for ages. And look, Chelsea fans were singing Romelu Lukaku's name. I would never do that again. I was singing it as loud as I possibly could when I was in the stadium against Brighton at home. But I will never sing his name again. I don't care what he does. I don't care if he scores a hat-trick in the Champions League final in St. Petersburg. Not interested in Lukaku one bit. But because of our issues up front over the years, I think that Chelsea fans have a history of being really forgiving and really encouraging towards centre-forwards. I remember it with Torres, when Torres was going through terrible moments. We were so supportive. I was in the ground when he scored against West. He finally scored against West Ham. The ball sort of got caught in the mud. It was pouring down with rain. Ball got caught in the mud, and as it stopped, it did him a massive favour, because the ball basically stopped dead, which tricked everyone. He spun and shot with his left foot into the far corner at the Matthew Harding end. The ground erupted. People love it. People love him. And this goes back years, by the way, the amount of support. It became a bit of a joke, but Chris Sutton, Robert Fleck, we back strikers at this club. And Chelsea fans are backing their striker now. We've always tried to be so supportive because of the issues that we've had at number 9. I just can't see how it can progress now. I really don't. And if I'm totally honest with you, I think that Chelsea made the right call in 2014. When we sold Romelu Lukaku for 30 million quid, that was the perfect thing that we could have done. I'm going to put my hard hat on for when I push this video live. I imagine that I'm going to get a bit of stick. But it's truly what I believe, and I genuinely believe I'm right. I don't think Romelu Lukaku should be playing for Chelsea at the moment. I just don't think he should at all. And whether I think he's the best striker at the club, of course I think he's a better player than Timo Werner. But at least Timo Werner plays with his heart on his sleeve. Oh dear. We need to sort this out, though. We do need to, because we're no longer looking at the league. Liverpool won. They've gone above us. We now need to be really worried about what Tottenham have got 4 games in hand, haven't they? We need to be worried about Tottenham, worried about Arsenal, because this is getting slightly desperate. If we don't arrest this fairly shoddy run that we're on, starting at Brighton, we need to be very worried about where we're going to end this season. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, would you do me a favour? Give it a like, because I think I'm going to get a lot of stick. So give this one a like if you've enjoyed it. Please click subscribe. The community on this channel is growing and it really does mean the world to me. So consider clicking subscribe, give it a like, and remember, have a wonderful Monday. Go easy, step lightly, and stay free. Ta-da.